There's been a lot of talk on if the Detroit Lions could win the NFC North, something that they've never done. Now, I am aware that the Detroit Lions last won the division back in, it was the Central Division, and their last division title coming in 1993. The divisions were realigned in 2002, and then since then, the Detroit Lions have not won. We've come close 2 times in 2011 and 2014 are the 2 times that I can remember. It came down to the last game, and we were unable to win either one of those games. Ironically, both against the Aaron Rodgers-led Green Bay Packers. But he's gone from the division, and even if he was still here, we seem to have his card. I mean, we were 3-1 against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, but he's not our problem anymore. But there's been a lot of hype. And you might wonder, how can a team that finished 3-13-1 at the end of 21 have so much hype just a year later, especially after starting 1-6? Because it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And with the hype being almost out of control in a way, Brad Holmes finally said something about whether or not he thinks the Detroit Lions can win the division. Now, I have some thoughts on the hype train. And before we get into Brad Holmes and his comments, this is how I think it's going to go. If we beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, we're talking Super Bowl. And I think we should, because they are the bar. And if we beat them, Super Bowl. That's period. Yeah, it's week 1. It's a long season. But after week 1, man, I'm calling it Super Bowl, right? If we go 2-0, I think that the hype train will be derailed and it will be out of control. The bandwagon will fill up, and we will be trying to find seats on said bandwagon if you are a bandwagon fan, because it's going to be ridiculous. However, if the Lions go on 2, a lot of the SOL people are going to come out, and it's going to be either way, the train is going to go off the tracks, either from hype or disappointment. 1-1 would be probably an even tier. If the Detroit Lions go 1-1, I don't think the reaction will be that bad, especially if we lose to the Chiefs like everyone expects us to do. But coming back to the division, something we've never done. The players hear what the city has to say. The players hear what the media has to say. And for the first time that I can remember, the Lions are getting the type of notice that we're not used to, where they're talking about our team in a good way, that it's not synonymous with some mishap or bad thing. I mean, the love that we're getting is ridiculous. It's something I've never seen. And Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, and the players, they all say the right thing. They all say what they're supposed to say, which is last year isn't this year. Yesterday's price ain't today's price, right? We have to go out there and prove it. We didn't even make the playoffs. We've done nothing yet. They hear the hype, but do they believe it? And here's what Brad Holmes had to say in his press conference this morning. He said, when asked about the chances of winning the division, very high. Holmes said when asked for his level of confidence, his Lions can win the division. I do think that we've, let's call it, took our medicine in the past few years. Me and Dan Campbell talk about it all the time. We've coached the Senior Bowl. We've had to do hard knocks. We've done all that. We've gone through a lot of darkness to get to this point. But that's where the grit comes into place, in terms of not just really wavering, just putting your head down and not getting discouraged. So we kind of just put the focus on building the best roster that we can and just getting the best football players. And Brad Holmes talked about that today. That's one thing that our team has said over and over and over, is getting football players. He then goes to talk about how they didn't just get players for talent and with talent. They got football players, which, if you think about it, is talking about the grit. Our team is full of gritty individuals, from Khalif Raymond to Alex Anzalone. I mean, castaways, people that we didn't even know much about before they got to our team. I remember specifically when we signed in year 1. I mean, it was literally a hodgepodge of men, from Kadero Hodge to Brashard Perriman to just the list goes on of individuals that were kind of no names before they came to the Detroit Lions. And now, not only have they made a name and a place for themselves, they have also carved out a future and made a statement when it comes to our team. Brad Holmes knows that we have to go out there and prove it. And he said something today that literally gave me goosebumps when he said it. Here's what he said. He said, regardless of whether positive news is coming out, we'll keep the same mindset. We'll always be the hunters, and we're not succumbing to targets on our back. Holmes said, we'll always be hunting and aiming for the target, so it doesn't really change our mission. I think Dan's done an outstanding job with the teams in terms of letting them know what the expectations are, and we're not scared of the expectations. The expectations are earned through what we've built and what we've done up to this point in terms of how we finish the end of the season and through our player acquisition process. But now we've just got to go prove them right. And that right there, that comment about always being the hunters. We don't care that there's a target on our back. He said, we'll always be aiming for the target. And that is an awesome statement. It's very similar to if you have a goal. You have a goal and you're trying to reach that. And even if you're coming up through the ranks, you're never going to get satisfied. You're never going to be settled. You're never going to be content. You're always going to be striving to be better. And that's what that statement said to me. We're not going to win double-digit games because nobody is going to overlook us anymore. Well, they shouldn't have been overlooking us in the first place. That was their first mistake. That was their first mistake. Never judge a book by its history, right? So the Detroit Lions have a chance to do something we've never done, win the NFC North. In an earlier press conference, he talked about how that was exciting for him. He was looking forward to the challenge, getting the players, seeing the product that him and Dan have put together, and Sheila for staying out the way, seeing that product, going out there and living up to all the hype. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You know, we've talked a lot about Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes has this was quite possibly the final time we'll see him until the end of the season. His time is the off season. Dan's time is the end season. I love what he said. That gives our team, the team heard what he said, and they're going to be ready to go out there and do their thing. I'll never forget when we saw the Detroit Lions, what game were they most likely looking forward to? I would say about 85 to 95% held up the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is before we knew it was Thursday night. So our dudes are going to be out there and be ready. I'll be there. Let me know in the comments below if you'll be there as well. If you are going to Kansas City, we will be at Char Bar beginning at 6 o'clock. It's easy to find. You can just Google it, GPS it, and it'll take you right there. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself. And as always, go Lions. I made a video earlier about the watch party for week 2 held September 17th at the Uno's Pizzeria and Grill. And a nice subscriber wanted to pay it forward. He wanted to support the show. He wanted to support the event. And he gave me 2 tickets in order to give out to somebody who might have been having trouble get there. Well, one of those tickets is gone because one person decided that they were going to claim a ticket. And we have one left. All right. So if you want to be that one person, all you have to do is @ me on Twitter @Lion Syndicate with hashtag week 2 watch party. And the minute I see it, whoever does it first, I'll DM you for your information and get you your ticket ASAP.